There are books that teach us how to think, and there are books that teach us how to connect. How to magnetize your mind with others belongs to the latter. It is not simply a manual of strategies, nor a set of shallow techniques to charm or influence. Rather, it is a deeply human guide to awakening the power of resonance, the invisible force that allows one soul to reach another, not through manipulation, but through authenticity, intention, and understanding. At its heart, the book asks a timeless question: how do we become magnetic to others, not through force, but through presence? The answer is neither instant nor superficial. It requires a shift of perception, from seeing relationships as transactions to seeing them as living spaces where energy flows, where emotions echo, and where ideas take root in shared soil. The author begins with a reminder that magnetism is not something to acquire, but something to uncover. We are already magnetic beings, but our inner power often becomes clouded by fear, comparison, or self-doubt. Like a magnet wrapped in dust, our natural force can feel hidden, yet it waits patiently to be revealed. When we quiet our restless thoughts, when we stop trying to perform, and instead show up as real, we begin to attract others not by effort, but by the quiet confidence of being whole within ourselves. One of the central insights of the book is that magnetism grows from alignment. People feel drawn to us when our words, actions, and emotions are consistent with our deeper truth. Imagine meeting someone who says they are confident, but their posture collapses under the weight of insecurity, their eyes dart nervously, and their tone lacks conviction. You feel a dissonance, an unspoken mismatch between the message and the energy. Contrast this with a person who may not be loud or flashy, but whose calm presence radiates certainty and kindness. Their body, their words, and their silence all say the same thing. That alignment is magnetic. The author offers real-life examples: a teacher who inspires not because of the facts she recites, but because she truly believes in her students' potential. A leader who wins loyalty not through fear or authority, but through living by the very values he preaches. A friend who comforts not by giving speeches, but simply by holding your hand with genuine care. Each of these examples illustrates the same principle: people remember how you make them feel, not what you say. And when your inner life is congruent with your outer expression, your very presence becomes a source of trust and attraction. Another profound lesson of the book is the role of listening. To magnetize your mind with others, you must first honor their presence. Too often, we mistake speaking well as the path to influence, but the book insists that listening deeply, with patience, curiosity, and empathy, is what truly creates connection. When someone feels seen and heard, they begin to lean toward you, not because you have demanded it, but because their soul recognizes safety in your presence. The author compares it to a mirror. When you reflect another person's essence back to them without judgment, they are drawn to you as naturally as a flower turns toward sunlight. The book also addresses the silent energy we emit, the field, around us. Just as two musical instruments tuned to the same frequency begin to vibrate together, human beings resonate when their energies align. This resonance is not mystical, it is deeply practical. Consider how you feel around someone who radiates bitterness or constant complaint. Their energy pulls you downward. Now think of the joy that arises in the presence of someone who carries gratitude, laughter, or quiet strength. Without words, they elevate you. This is the magnetic field we create through our habitual thoughts and emotions. By cultivating gratitude, kindness, and vision, we strengthen the frequency we radiate, and others unconsciously attune to it. The author emphasizes that magnetism is not about pleasing everyone, nor about bending ourselves to fit expectations. True magnetism is rooted in authenticity. If you try to wear masks, people may be temporarily fooled, but deep down, others sense the falseness. On the other hand, when you dare to stand as you are, imperfect, yet sincere, those who are aligned with your essence will find you. The book offers the moving story of a young man who spent years trying to be charismatic in order to win friends, only to exhaust himself in the process. His turning point came when he stopped trying to impress and began to share honestly about his struggles. Ironically, that vulnerability drew people to him more powerfully than all his practiced performances ever could. Practical exercises weave throughout the text. Readers are encouraged to practice small daily rituals, pausing before conversations to set an intention of kindness, breathing slowly to center oneself before entering a room, or reflecting each evening on moments of genuine connection rather than on numbers of likes, followers, or applause. These practices remind us that magnetism is not built in grand speeches, but in the micro moments of presence we offer to those around us. The book also touches on the importance of vision. A magnetic mind is not only connected in the present, but also carries a sense of direction. People are drawn to those who see possibilities larger than the moment. The author gives the example of social movements, where one person's unwavering vision of justice, peace, or change attracts thousands. The leader does not compel through fear, but through the sheer pull of conviction. In our everyday lives, this principle holds true. When we carry a clear purpose, others feel safe to walk beside us, for they sense the path is not random, but meaningful. Perhaps the most transformative message of how to magnetize your mind with others is that magnetism is not selfish. The goal is not to control or manipulate others for personal gain. True magnetism uplifts both the giver and the receiver. It creates circles of trust, compassion, and collaboration where all parties grow. The author warns against the misuse of magnetism, when charm is employed to deceive, or influence is used for exploitation. Such paths may succeed briefly, but they collapse, for they are built on illusion. Only the magnetism rooted in integrity endures. Toward the end of the book, the narrative becomes deeply reflective. The author invites us to imagine how our lives would look if every encounter became a chance to magnetize hearts through kindness, to bridge divides with empathy, to inspire courage through our example. The transformation is not only external but internal. As we practice radiating authenticity, listening with compassion, and aligning with vision, we ourselves become lighter, freer, and more at peace. Others are drawn to us, yes, but more importantly, we are drawn closer to the best within ourselves. The final pages close with a gentle but powerful reminder: you cannot magnetize your mind with others if you are disconnected from your own soul. The first step is always inward. When you learn to love, forgive, and accept yourself, your energy shifts, and that shift speaks louder than any words. In this way, the book is not only about connecting with others, but about remembering the sacred connection with your own being. How to magnetize your mind with others is more than a book, it is a mirror. It asks you to pause, to breathe, to notice the field you are creating in every moment, and then, it whispers the possibility of a different way of living, a way in which you no longer chase approval, but embody authenticity, no longer struggle to be heard, but learn to truly listen, no longer strive to force connection, but allow it to blossom naturally through presence, vision, and love. It is a reminder that magnetism is not about doing more, but about being more true, more open, more human. And in that being, you become a living magnet for all that is good, real, and enduring.